Dr. Sharma, this is the Global Digest think tank group. So you are our guest today.
Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you for having me. And I am Dr. Anu Sharma. I am assistant professor with Amity Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies, and we are based in New Delhi, India, in the Delhi NCR region. My institution is an educational institution which teaches the undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD students about defense, warfare, strategy, and a lot related to the geopolitics of the world and major powers. In terms of my personal knowledge base, my interest areas are defense and security policy of the West Asian region, particularly Iran. And I have two books published on Iranian foreign policy, and one was co-published by Routledge for European markets. My second book is also in publication, which is on the which is related to the larger India-West Asia relations, and is a issue-based thematic book, which will be coming out soon into the markets. I work on the defense and security policy of the West Asian region, their strategy, the politics, the regional politics, the role of external powers and players, and how all of this affect in terms of Indian, you can say, scenario, Indian relations with all of these West Asian nations.
I see. I see. It's interesting. You have a lot of books and a lot of publication. And last time I also talked with one of Pakistani professor, and he's also expert on Pakistani foreign policy. And Pakistan is kind of hosting and meditating between Iranian and U.S. government. And it seemed it was failed. Pakistan is claiming its existential threat. India's existential threat for Pakistan. That's Pakistan possession and India possession, India Iranian relation. We don't see much recently because Pakistan play more role in Iran. It seemed like that, but India buy a lot of Iranian oil too. But India did not play much Navy or India doesn't cooperate with U.S. military, U.S. Navy. Maybe India play by its own Navy separately, but it's not much visible Indian role related to Iranian conflict. So first, how can you explain about Indian position and India role in Iranian conflicts? Please, Dr. Sharma.
Okay. So, when it comes to India's role in the current West Asian conflict that is happening between precisely between Israel and Iran and an external power that is America. So, India's position has been that of that we neither support the conflict that is going on, and we do not support any kind of aggression that any country makes against any other nation, whether and it is not justified. Now, for India, it's a little precarious situation because we have good relations with both the nations. We have very good relations, civilizational relations with Iran, and we have very definitely very good, you can say, defense relations with Israel. So our stand, and we also have good relations with the United States. So our stand in this current conflict has been more of a balancing act. Okay, we are trying to balance both the nations, and we've been acting bilaterally for this. Okay, for example, if you have read the news, then in the Strait of Hormuz during the blockade, Indian ships were allowed to pass through. So I think that is one of the, you can say, advantages, or you can say the best points of Indian diplomacy that has happened, because when none of the ships were able to cross through the Strait of Hormuz, Indian ships were allowed to pass through. So this the whole balancing and rebalancing, the you can say the foreign policy that India has adopted in terms of the current conflict that is going on West Asia is actually helping India to sustain this conflict in terms of having not destroying its relations with either Israel or Iran or with United States per se. Now, when it comes to whether Pakistan is playing, because like you said that we are not visible, because our aim is not to take sides in this conflict. We are not there to fight with any one nation. We're not there to fight with Israel. We're not there to fight with Iran. But yes, our navies, our you can say navy vessels are also placed near the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf, that in case there is any humanitarian disaster and there is any requirement for humanitarian assistance, then we are able to provide them, whether it is for Indian people or it is for any other nation. So our support system is perfectly right there where it should be in the Persian Gulf region. But of course, they are not placed there for taking sides in this conflict, that is the ongoing conflict that is happening in West Asia.
I see. You said India has benefit. Iran allow Indian ship to export oil. Indian ship are allowed to pass the Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz. But U.S. is also doing
Mhm.
again blockage at the Oman Sea. So I don't know. U.S. allow Indian ship to pass as well at the blockage. How can you say that?
I think it is not going to be a problem for India because, like I said, that India is has been playing very smart in terms of maintaining its relations with both Iran and the United States. Now, the kind of blockage that you are talking about, it has not happened. Only US has only declared that they are going to block right outside where Iranian blockade ends. Okay, so if Iran has allowed Indian ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, I am sure with the current status of our relations with America, I am sure they will also allow Indian ships to pass through, and the trade between Iran and or India's trade with the other West Asian nations will continue. And this has precisely happened because of the fact that India has maintained very good relations in terms of its you can say diplomacy with America also. So I don't think it is going to be a much problem for India when it if there is a secondary blockade that happens by America.
I see. But I mean, similar to India, Chinese ship are also, passed by Iranian at the
Mhm.
blockage. Iran allowed Chinese ship or exporting
Mhm.
Chinese ship, as well as U.S. blockage at the Oman
Mhm.
Sea also allow Chinese ship to pass. Recently, you can see at the news, Chinese oil tanks are passing both blockage. So can
Mhm.
you say Iran and U.S. allow both Indian and Chinese ships from each blockage to pass them for oil shipping?
See, in the case of China is also a little, you can say, different. Why? Because China is the largest trading partner of majority West Asian nations. Their trade is almost largest as compared to, you can say, America. America is the second largest trading partner. For example, Iran. China is their largest trading partner, largest importer of their oil. So it is only, and it has also been the nation that has always stood by Iran when, and still now, when the sanctions are imposed. So China has been able to give Iran what rest of the world has not been able to do for Iran. So that is why I think that China-Iran relation sustained because of this bonhomie between Iran and China, that they have been able to stood by each other in times when they need most each other, or the situation has been difficult or made difficult by you can say American administration, Trump's first administration or in the second administration. So that has proved a little favorable in terms of China. Now, why America has allowed Chinese ships to pass through the blockade is precisely the reason because America is already fighting this conflict in the West Asian region. It's a foreign land, and China is another, you can say, a stronger nation. That if it gets involved into a conflict like this, then it becomes a bigger trouble for America. So I think they were not looking for trouble in the Persian Gulf region with China and already the West Asian nations right there at the bay, and majority of those West Asian nations are also the largest trading partner for with China. So I think that is why I think America was ready to give a free pass to China for their ships to pass.
I see. So uh, we can say China and India are neutral in Iranian conflict, right? So
Yes, yes.
they don't side with any group, and we can say China and India get benefit from both sides, from India, from Iranian side as well as from USA side. They can
Mhm,
able to pass the blockage and they can ship oil for uh,
mhm,
their own benefit. Pakistan
mhm,
dislike India in many ways. So how
mhm,
do you see Pakistan behavior? Well, Pakistan will be successfully host in next meeting. Why it was
mhm.
failed in this meeting?
Okay. So let me start with the basics first. You were saying that previously Pakistan was siding first point that India is a bigger threat for Pakistan. I think it depends on the perception that whether they consider India as a bigger threat or not. But yes, we have always been opposing the cross-border terrorism that is happening or that is basically emerging from the Pakistani territory. We have nothing against Pakistani state, but their support for terrorist activities against India. So that has been the major contention between India and Pakistan. Now, in terms of the mediation that Pakistan is doing in this Iranian conflict, why are they not siding with China, or like they previously were siding with China because India is siding with America? Because here the situation in Pakistan is also not very, you can say, is not, the scenario is a little difficult. Their economy is a little, facing a downward trend. It's going down. And they need, you can say, investments and aid and money and economic support. And of course, China is supporting Pakistan in terms of all the, you can say, infrastructure projects as part of their CPEC, the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is part of BRI. So I will not say that in this mediation, the whole mediation thing, they have totally ruled out the role of China or whether China is getting involved or not. But here, I think they're trying to play a little smart by hosting, mediating, you can say, setting the mediating table for all the three parties, that is Iran and US, to come together and discuss this whole issue, the contention that they have between each other. So it's basically they're trying to position themselves as a very credible Islamic nation that can mediate this issue, because they are an Islamic state. So according to them, it becomes easier for them to, they share the same culture, tradition kind of thing, so it becomes easier for them to mediate. And America have been their a very long partner and ally. During war on terror, America has used Pakistani territory for its activities in terms of countering Al Qaeda, and for in case of Afghanistan, countering Taliban also. So that alliance, or you can say the so-called alliance, has helped Pakistan to grow and position themselves geopolitically as a credible Islamic nation that can act as a mediator for conflict. Now, this is also known as something, a very what we teach in terms of theory is called niche diplomacy. Okay, the niche diplomacy is when a third party, which is not involved in the conflict, basically asks everybody to come to the table and say that, okay, I offer my place, you come here, sit, discuss, and mediate, and let us bring this conflict to an end. So I think Pakistan is trying to play smart by acting niche diplomacy. The other question is that the more geopolitical positioning that they will have, the hard positioning that they will have through this mediation, will help them economically and politically in terms of global politics and regional politics, will place them a little more stable, credible nation that can help countries to mediate. Now, whether, of course, like we have seen, the first round of mediation has fizzled out. but then it was supposed to be, because the issue here is not bringing an end to a conflict. The issue is the issue between US and Iran, it goes beyond this conflict. The issue between US and Iran has always been Iranian nuclear issue. The issue between Iran and US has always been related to missile problem or development of missile, the whole missile program of Iran. That has been the issue. So unless and until these issues are sorted, I don't think there is going to be any mediation between US and Iran. There was 12-day, you can say, conflict that happened last year also in June, between Israel and Iran, and US was not part of this conflict. But then US, America's Pacific Fleet was there in Persian Gulf to support Israel in case required, and they stayed in. So I think this whole intermittent, you can say, conflict will continue to go on unless and until the major issues that are existing in Iran US relation, which is the nuclear issue, which is the missile program, which is also from Iranian side not to try and change the regime. I think unless and until all these issues are sorted, I don't think there is going to be a mediation, or any mediation is going to be successful. Now, whether there is going to be second mediation and whether Pakistan is going to play a role in this, uh, I am sure there's going to be a second mediation as well, because none of the West Asian countries are happy with the situation right now. With the blockage of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, the trade is badly affected. And apart from that, the constant threat of missile and drone attacks is also affecting all of these nations. So every West Asian, all 11, 12 West Asian nations want this conflict to come to an end. But again, here, one of the important factors that you need to keep in mind is that I think the mediation can only come to an end when America is not there and only the West Asian nations are.
I see. But the conflict is, between America and Iran. It's mainly so. How can you exclude that America mediation in this peace meditation?
The conflict is between, right now, what is happening is in between Iran and Israel. Okay, the direct confrontation is between Iran and Israel, and America is only the supporting factor in terms of Israel. Okay,
I mean,
so if that is
it's
if
combined.
that is the, yeah,
It's combined.
you
Israel
can say
and America is combined, and American pro issue is nuclear. That is the pro issue. Iran was sanctioned by
that.
United Nations about nuclear
Hmm.
weapons development. So that's American pro concern about Iran nuclear weapon. That's so it will be very difficult if you exclude America from negotiation because it's main actor in.
I am not saying exclude America. I'm saying it will be easier if America is not there to get any mediation done.
Then Iran will do whatever they want. Iran will never give up nuclear weapons. So and American know that even now they still have capacity. And do you think Iran nuclear development, even Pakistan is assisting nuclear development in Iran, or how can you say Pakistan involvement? Because Pakistan officially declined; they did not support or any assistance nuclear weapon for Iran, but many people doubt about Pakistan role in nuclear weapon for Iran. That's maybe also a reason Iran is coming for mediation. I don't know. How can you say that?
Okay. One thing, Iranian nuclear issue, I would rather call it a nuclear issue because since 2015, since the Iranian nuclear deal was signed, Iran has always, time and again, categorically said that they're not developing nuclear weapons, and their nuclear program is only civilian nuclear program, which is only basically for all civilian purposes, for health reasons, for health purposes, for electricity generation, and all of this. So the what they were trying to develop are the civilian nuclear capabilities. There was no news, there was no information related to Iran developing any nuclear weapon. Right now also there is no certified information that is coming from Iranian government sources saying that they have developed nuclear weapons, or whether they have tested nuclear weapons, or any nuclear weapons from Iranian side that has been tested. It's I would rather say that this is more so of a Western narrative or a hearsay information saying that Iran has already developed weapons capability, because neither you can say neither Iranian side or IAEA, that is the International Atomic Agency, Energy Agency, that has also claimed that Iran has developed nuclear weapons. In the same scenario, we can say that the core issue of this conflict is nuclear issue, because every country, whether in West Asia, whether America, whether Israel, they feel that if Iran develops nuclear weapon or develops their weapons capability, then it is going to be a very you can say invincible kind of an adversary that these nations can have around themselves, and the threat perception of these nations will increase, will skyrocket. And precisely that was the reason why countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia and UAE and Bahrain have always been opposing Iranian nuclear program. So there is no news about whether Iran has developed any nuclear, weapons capability that is coming from any credible source, citing that they have developed. Now, the nuclear sites that have been damaged, whether in Natanz or Isfahan, all of these, the nuclear sites that have been damaged, they have been in process of being developed since 2004 and 2005, and all of these nuclear reactors do not have weapons nuclear weapons development capability. They are civilian nuclear reactor. They were being developed for civilian energy purposes. So I doubt that Iran has developed nuclear weapons capability, at least. And if even if that is the case that they have developed, I think like Israel, they are also trying to stay ambiguous. That is, without saying whether they have developed or not. Let the world think whatever they want to think, whether they have it or they don't have it. They're trying to use ambiguity as deterrence for themselves.
I see. But there are many open sources. They produce very high level. It can turn to
They've
the
almost this they've declared that they can develop this. It's only a matter of few days that they will develop weapons capability. Okay, that is what they have said, but they've not done so far.
oh,
Okay.
sure. Probably they did not done any nuclear weapon, but they have very close of nuclear weapon, the capacity and facility and sources, all things almost close to nuclear weapon. The nuclear engineer, nuclear scientists, everything they have, every facility they have already. Only they should uh, produce a weapon, and then once they done, which means they can launch nuclear weapon because they already have ballistic missile, long
Hmm.
long range and short range ballistic missile.
Right.
So immediately they can reach Israeli country. They can reach to Israel anywhere in Middle East, even India or Pakistan. They can reach anywhere, even Europe. They can reach immediately
Mhm.
with Iran. Everybody know Iran has capacity of ballistic missile, long range,
Mhm.
short range. They have, even now they are launching a lot of ballistic missile, to Israel and neighbor countries. So it's it is imminent. Iran can use ballistic missile for nuclear weapon. It is certainly Iran can launch it. So just before they produce nuclear weapon, it's a kind of they destroy American destroy it, and UN also sanctioned, but who knows will they listen to UN sanction or not? If they want, they will develop it anyway. And the worst thing is, Iran is severely, they block or they did not allow IAEA to investigate detail just before the conflict started. So IAEA cannot confirm and cannot verify. They've been complaining Iran did not let them enter into Iranian nuclear facility or to investigate. So that's the sign of Iranian behavior. So there are many justification. Iran, the most problem is the perception is different from other country, Pakistan or India or other country. They are, the Iranian political and the religious uh, extreme concept is very dangerous. That's why Israeli said Iranian nuclear is existential threat for Israel. Israeli said once Iran develop nuclear, Israel will be gone. So that's a thing. So Israel know that, and Israel definitely worry that, and plus U.S. also worry because U.S. interest in the region, U.S. military alliance, U.S. alliance, and many Gulf countries are U.S. alliance. So it's directly and indirectly threat for U.S. So U.S. has to destroy Iranian. So that's the thing.
I don't think I can comment on whether Pakistan is involved in Iranian nuclear program. Initially, they were, but right now, whether they're involved in Iranian nuclear program or not, I don't think I can comment on that. I do not have that information to comment on this question.
I see. We don't know Pakistan supply or supporting
Yes,
nuclear weapon development to Iran. We don't know.
Iran, right now.
We don't know that, but probably if maybe not only Pakistan, Iran might be also get any support from China or Russia uh, to
North Korea also. North Korea is also in the list. So you never know which country is supporting. If you are saying that Iranian nuclear weapons are being made, developed, and which country is supporting that. So it's difficult to say because everything is in open source and none of the countries are claiming that they've been helping Iran to develop nuclear weapons. So I doubt that.
I guess every government confirm and many open sources confirm Iranian has very high uranium capacity. They have able to enrich a lot of uranium.
I think it's 60% that uranium enrichment development, 60% of it has been achieved. So they're not very far from developing nuclear weapons. They're very close to developing weapon grade technology, nuclear technology.
Do you know during American strike or bomb the nuclear facility, they destroy almost all uranium enrichment, or they may not destroy many of the uranium.
Iranian sources said that none of their enrichment capacity capabilities or none of their enrichment sites have been destroyed. But Western sources claim that they have given a significant. They've destroyed significantly all the you can say nuclear sites of Iran. So it's like two different claims that are coming from two different adversaries. Now, what to believe and what not to believe only remains to be seen in terms of what exactly is the right data, and that nobody can you can say assess that because there are no boots on ground to assess the claims of both the adversaries, that is US and Iran. So it's very difficult to say. So you can only claim what is available in open source. So media reports have been saying that, American media reports have been saying that America has destroyed Iranian nuclear sites, and Iranian news reports are saying that there is no, big damage that has been done to their nuclear sites. So what to believe and what not to believe is the scenario right now.
Right. So it's confusing, right? Because nobody can go and nobody can get confirmed because no international news or
Mm,
international observer are inside Iran that there's the thing. But US confirmed they destroy, but Iran said they are
don't.
not able to
Mm,
destroy it. So it's confusing.
mhm.
Probably, I guess, Iranian news is true because they still have uranium. They still have capacity of uranium. They said so. So it's true. So it means Iran has capacity to develop nuclear weapon very close. With the support of Russia or China, you said North Korea is very much supporting Iran. China and Russia can still support it
Yeah,
because they don't care about any other country. So do
yeah.
you think China support uh, any nuclear weapon development in Iran nowadays? But officially they decline. They say
Yes,
they don't. But
officially.
even air defense system, everything China is secretly supporting. But they did not say they support. So how do you see uh, Chinese or Russia role supporting nuclear weapon or nuclear uranium enrichment or nuclear facility?
So, like you said, that China has openly declared that they do not support any, development of nuclear weapons grade technology to Iran. But they've been diplomatically engaged with Iran in terms of, economic ties, and of course, they do not want the region to have this kind of escalation because it harms them the most. They are the majority trading partner with a lot of countries, and if even if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, I hope you know that the longer the period the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the more the insurance costs for the ships are going to rise, and that is going to affect every country, including China too, in the longer run. So I don't think they are in favor of escalation, and that is why they're not supporting any development of, because they for sure they know that the moment nuclear weapons are developed in the region, it is going to be very difficult for West Asia to remain stable. As it is, it's a volatile region. So that is why I think they're not supporting, openly not supporting or not saying anything about providing weapons grade development technology, nuclear technology to Iran. But Russia has time and again, previously also, Russia has supported, you can say, Iranian enrichment, Iranian nuclear capabilities, civilian nuclear capabilities. But both the countries have time and again, both Russia and China have time and again said in their official statements that they are not supporting Iranian enrichment capabilities. So, and both the countries are not in favor of the tensions that are going on in the West Asian region. So I am sure that right now, whatever is happening is what Iran is doing on their own, without any country supporting them in terms of providing them, technology for developing nuclear weapons.
Right. Probably Russia could be because Iranians support a lot of drone to Russia in order to strike
Yeah,
Ukrainian.
Russia agreed. Yes,
So
yes, yes.
in turns, Russia might support or help Iran nuclear development, nuclear facility, probably. But the problem is Russia, China, North Korea, they always deny officially they don't support, but uh, the problem is secretly always happening, behind the
Mhm.
behind the screen. Uh,
Yes.
invisible things are happening. So that's very doubtful.
China is supporting Iran indirectly. Why it is not getting into the conflict, direct confrontation because they don't want to be in a confrontational situation with America, where America is also one of the, primary actors in this conflict. But what are they doing? They're providing, diplomatic support and economic assistance, and that is always going to be in favor of China, because the more destruction that happens around the region, then the more infrastructure development requirements are going to happen. And then China being one of the primary partners of a lot of these countries, it is going to help them in terms of economically providing them infrastructure development projects. So that is going to be in favor of you can say China always. But directly, they're not going to be part of this conflict, because China has always followed this whole policy of non-interference, not directly getting involved in terms of intervening in any country's political processes or their conflicts. So because of that, I don't think China is going to get involved directly in any conflict related to West Asian region or Iran per se. But whether their support to Iran is going to end or not, I doubt it is going to end. They have too much at stake when it comes to Iran. They've invested too much in Iran in terms of their BRI project, that Belt and Road projects, and otherwise also before Belt and Road projects also, they've been developing the railroad system, rail and roadway system in Iran and in Saudi Arabia. In you can say they've been immensely, you can say, involved in UAE and Oman and Qatar, in all of these countries. So they have too much of stake in West Asia and Iran also. So I don't think their support is going to come to an end easily when it comes to all of these nations or Iran per se.
I see. And since China is heavily invested in West Asia, including in Pakistan, they have a lot of Belt and Road projects in Pakistan. Is there any potential or any oil pipeline? China might prefer to have a on land pipeline, oil pipeline from Iran to China. Is there possible, or is there any alternative China can develop, or China is enough to have Russian oil and gas, or how do you see that?
I doubt there is going to be, because I haven't read since this West Asian crisis unfolded. I have been reading a lot about oil scenario and oil and gas scenario and their transportation and logistics issues. But I doubt that China is thinking about developing a pipeline. If yes, they've been thinking about it, they've not written about it as yet, because I haven't read any credible pieces or any credible articles or journal articles talking about developing.
China has pipeline in Pakistan, right?
Yes, yes, IPI pipeline, that they've invested in this, but I doubt that it is going to take place. And the conflict, I think China made it very clear in the beginning itself that the conflict is not going to affect them because they're an ally, they're a partner to Iran. So they've been very confident that Iran is always going to support them. So they are not. That this is not going to there've been blockages, there've been you can say higher tariffs that they need to pay, but I think China is managing well, and I don't think they're looking for an alternative. In terms of Chinese investments in Pakistan also, yes, CPAC is one of the important, you can say, important factors for Chinese economic investments in Pakistan. But it's still like Gwadar has been developed by them for the same purposes, that if something like this in Hormuz happens, then they can, transfer it through Gwadar, through sea lane. But I think it still has been a little more, you can say, on paper, it's more of a strategic idea than, you can say, operational idea. because I doubt that is happening in current crisis also. And even Chinese ships are also passing through Strait of Hormuz. Has that been the case, then Guada would have been effective, and that would have become an alternate route for not only China but a lot of other countries for oil trade. And if that is not happening, if nothing is being talked about this, then I doubt that. But my idea is that it's more of a strategic idea than an operational thing.
But probably China may not much concern about oil pipeline from Iran to Pakistan, Pakistan to China, because China doesn't much worry about Iranian oil because China can get a lot of oil from Russia. So probably it's not that big deal for China. Uh, but I don't know in India
Also,
side.
in case
India,
geographically, in
India
case
may be very concerned about oil from Iran because India depend heavily on the Persian Gulf, those GCC and Iran oil. So
mm,
compared to China, India might be more worried about oil, or India also have much alternative option, or how Indian position.
see, we're definitely concerned about the scenario in terms of our oil and gas requirements. And you are absolutely right in saying that we are too heavily dependent on GCC oil and Iranian oil. So for us, the first and foremost thing is to end this escalation, or at least, the mediation should be successful, so that at least for once this escalation can come to an end, and it becomes like a normal routine oil and gas trade between India and the West Asian region. But the scenario is difficult because, like I said, the the ships, the oil prices are increasing. It is taking a little longer time for oil to reach India from GCC countries. The tariffs are increasing, the insurance prices are increasing. So that is also putting a little bit of a burden on our economy. Um, but I will not say that we are thriving, we are surviving well, but I will still say that we are not in a bad position right now. And that is precisely because of the diplomatic efforts that has been done by the government of India with bilaterally with a lot of other West Asian nations. So we have good partners in a lot of West Asian countries that are also helping India in this dire circumstances. So I think our diplomacy, our foreign policy has been right on track, and this is a clear case in point, which is telling us that we are right on track in terms of our diplomatic efforts when it comes to West Asian nations.
I see. Uh, Last time Iran also announced any shipping oil from Iran, they have to use Chinese yuan instead of US dollar. So India doesn't use
Mhm.
Chinese yuan. India has India own rupee. Why Iran is asking for yuan?
Mm.
Well, India will pay by yuan, or will you pay by rupee, or well, Iran will accept Indian rupee, and how you make a deal with
Okay,
Iran
okay.
about payment method.
Okay, okay. So, we've made it clear that we will not be shifting our payment method in terms of trading with Iran in terms of Chinese yuan or dollar per se. So we've always resorted to having a rupee based trade or barter system arrangements. Barter system has been like whatever kind of trade, whatever the amount of trade that we are having with Iran. So they'll do the same amount of trade from India. Okay, so that is the barter. So if you are purchasing, some goods worth 1,000 rupees from Iran, so Iran will purchase goods worth of 1,000 rupees or the convertible value in real, and then that will happen. But we because the conversion of the payment of the trade that happens, that becomes difficult. So that is why we've always with Iran, we've always based on the rupee based you can say trade mechanism. And we've always used a third party system to convert. So they've been banks in Turkey, they've been Turkey, or they've been banks in Oman that we've referred to or we've used previously. So I think when it comes to if it comes to switching our trade, in terms of payment of our trade, I don't think we're either shifting to yuan or China or US dollars. So I think we'll continue the way it has been continuing previously with
I
Iran.
see.
We always used to use third party network. So what happens is we pay it to, supposedly, if you're using Central Bank of Turkey as a mechanism, so we'll deposit the amount in Central Bank of Turkey, and then Central Bank of Turkey will convert the amount for in terms of Iranian currency and then pay it to them. So this is how the payment has been made. Payment was being made in the past to Iran. So I think we going to do the same in terms of in future. The payment for the trade that is going to happen. And there are also a lot of Indian banks also have accounts for a lot of Iranian companies and firms. Okay, so I think sometimes what we do is we just deposit money in those accounts that Iranian companies have in Indian banks. So that is also manageable. So I think we're going to manage in the same way as we've been managing before.
So India cannot accept Chinese yuan as a payment method. Indian reject it.
And it's not my, unfortunately, it's not my decision to make, but Indian government says that we are not going to use yuan as a payment method. Definitely, that is going to
And
be our stand also.
and in the BRICS, I don't think BRICS has any agreement to use a common currency. It's yuan is not a BRICS currency, right? Can you
No,
say?
yuan is not BRICS currency. There have been talks about having a common currency for BRICS, but I don't think those talks have come to a very conclusive, you can say, agreement. So there's still talks going on for a common currency for BRICS countries, but I doubt that has happened. But yes, there have been talks about it.
I see. So because people may think about Iran is demanding Chinese yuan for the payment.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
is like that BRICS currency. People may think about it, but you said Chinese yuan is not BRIC currency. BRIC has
No,
not yet currency.
no, 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 not as yet.
I see. I don't know. India has any option apart from shipping. You can do any Wi-Fi uh, bypassing Pakistani to Iran.
No, I don't think. No, there's no pipeline from Pakistani. Neither we are thinking about it. There was one, but I think the Pakistani side refused to develop the pipeline through their, you can say, territory. So that is why it has not materialized. And I don't think India is thinking about developing a pipeline that passes through Pakistan, any oil and gas pipeline. So I think we are going to resort to only, you can say, shipping lines for our trade, oil and gas trade.
So India and Pakistan were never likely to agree pipeline, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Right, right. So how do you think Russia is seem very quiet in Iranian conflict
Mhm.
because they have also their own conflict with Ukraine. So Russia
Mm.
seem did not want to get. Recently, also India dropped buying Russian oil, right? So how do you think India will rebuy a lot of Russian oil again, or how's relation with Russia?
See, Russia is already involved in a conflict in their own region with Ukraine. So I think Russia is not basically very deliberately not taking part in any of this conflict, rather not even taking sides, and whether Iran is correct and America is wrong, because they're already involved in a conflict that is also not coming to an end. And and also Russia has this Russian conflict, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has stretched almost for 5 years now, so 4 years now. So that is why their military capabilities are stretched, their economy is stretched. So I don't think they can afford any major second conflict or getting involved in any major second conflict. But this is definitely no lack of interest. I think they're not, it's not so that they're not interested in what is happening in the region, because they were on a rebound in this region in the past 5 years before Russia Ukraine conflict happened. So there was trade was happening, and good trade relations and good defense relations with a lot of other countries, West Asian countries also started, because these West Asian countries started hedging, looking for different, you can say, defense trading partners. So I think Russia is trying to play a little safe here when it comes to Iran conflict. I don't think it wants to, get into a conflict where America is directly involved, and especially in a region that is right into the neighborhood apart from Ukraine. So I doubt that Russia wants to open a two-front conflict in two adjacent regions, like two neighboring regions to itself.
Right.
Uh, See, India has not completely dropped Russian oil, but it has only reduced and diversified its imports, and that has majorly has to do with the pricing. One, of course, the more it benefits our economy, we're going to buy oil and gas from a country that is going to help us in terms of our giving us lower tariffs for oil and gas prices. Then it's also been related to the supply chain adjustments like this conflict. So if it becomes easier for us to get oil from any other country, then we are going to look for it, because this is precisely the national interest that we are following. It has nothing to do with we are deliberately reducing oil from taking oil from Russia because now cheaper Iranian oil is available. That is not the case. But also because Russia has the initially when the oil trade suddenly between India and Russia surged up, so the tariffs were low. But now Russia has also increased the tariff. So I think that is the reason that we have dropped taking oil from Russia rather than diversifying our needs or getting, other different players for our oil trade from West Asia. So it's more of an economic, you can say, shifting than political distancing. That is, I doubt that that is the case with the in India Russia scenario. But then we are also, before this conflict also happened, major talks, or you can say discussions, were also being happening in the government circles, talking about diversifying oil trade. Okay, rather not depending on what particular region or a country for our oil and gas requirements. So I think it's more economic than you can say strategic or political.
I see. I see. So last time it seemed Afghanistan is closer to India after the conflict with Pakistan. How's India-Afghanistan relation? India support Afghanistan better than Pakistan? What will be look like in the future?
I would like to make one thing clear, that India has still not recognized Taliban as the legitimate ruling regime of Afghanistan. So, whatever aid and whatever you can say support that we are providing to Afghanistan has nothing to do with our acknowledgement of Taliban being their ruling regime, but it has purely been humanitarian. Okay. So, the Indian government have consistently denied having any involvement or any providing any diplomatic assistance to Taliban in terms of developing relations with Taliban against Pakistan. We don't do that, and we are not a country that does that. So I think it is all humanitarian. Whether we are more closer to Afghanistan, yes, we are a little more closer to Afghanistan because we have 3 billion worth of investments in Afghanistan. The you can say the Salem Dam, and the you can say the roadways and the infrastructure network that we have helped build in Afghanistan. So I think. That is one of the reasons that I think Afghanistan finds itself to be a little closer to India. So that is one of the reasons, and it's more of a you can say humanitarian assistance, nothing more. So whatever Pakistan has been accusing India of, I think it's baseless.
I see. since Pakistan failed for the negotiation between USA and Iran, do you think the second negotiation can happen in somewhere else? I mean, probably India can host for second negotiation between US and Iran, or probably Turkey. How do you think? Where will be the option for second negotiation for Iran conflict?
I think it is going to be, if you ask for my personal opinion, and I'm not saying anything for the government of India, or I'm not taking any stand for any, government initiatives. Uh, I doubt that India is going to be involved in any kind of a mediation between United States and Iran. But if you ask my personal opinion, then I think it is going to be West Asia again, Oman or Qatar or any of these countries. I think the mediation can happen there, but you never know that the round of mediation can also happen in Pakistan, considering that now Pakistan is trying to look like a very credible, mediating partner. So. That is also one of the possibilities. So, and it's global politics, it's geopolitics, anything is possible.
I see. Okay, Dr. Sharma, thank you very much for today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.